Hey folks, MasakoX here. With how the internet works, you folks probably know that there are plenty of superhero spoilers out there floating about. And working as we do, we had to get acquainted with the summaries. It isn't easy being a Dragon Ball YouTuber, but we do what we must. Consider this a reminder that we are going to be talking about spoilers here, so if you wish to click off and come back later, stick this video in your watch later list and we'll see you again very soon. But for those of you who have succumbed to spoilers, do allow us to indulge your curiosity. In one of our previous discussions, which had been written before most of the stuff about the plot of Superhero became available to us all, and essentially became what everyone was talking about, we made some predictions before all of that happened about what we could expect in terms of future movie plots, without knowing exactly what happens in this movie. We had only little bits and pieces. Since then, we felt it would be a very curious experiment to see if our mind has been changed and what other ideas we could expect going forward, be they for an animated movie, or specials, or manga, or maybe a potential anime series. We don't know for sure, but these feel a little more grounded in what this latest movie has provided us in terms of narrative thought experiments. So now let's take a look at these scenarios, what we could now invent knowing what's happened in the movie, with all the doors open to us. Where we can go now that we know the end point for some of our characters, and who is still around to either cause problems for them or provide some extra assistance. Obviously, big spoiler warnings for anyone that doesn't wish to know anything about this movie before watching it in cinemas, and massive respect to you if you've actually stuck it out this long. I'm impressed that you've been able to steer clear of them for this long. But again, last chance. So with that out of the way, let's look at some possibilities. We've got at least 5 for you today. Let's go. Number 1, Red Ribbon Army is not completely gone. For this movie, the Red Ribbon lot had been able to survive for a very long time post Commander Red's defeat to Goku, where their original HQ was destroyed. It wasn't only Gero that had been doing the work of the Scarlet Ascot after all. No, the main outfit had been lingering in the shadows, led by Red Sun Magenta, to slowly build back better and rekindle the days of the old army with brand new technology and Wakanda-like facilities. It's actually even better than the original. It was quite impressive what they were able to do without anyone knowing, and it goes to show that the Dragon team had absolutely no clue of this. In fact, it does make you wonder actually as well. Did Future Trunks know about this organization too? Did this happen in his timeline as well? Could they have still been lingering in this timeline? Questions for later though, but that's definitely a noodle scratcher. While most of their resources are indeed gone by the time we roll credits, the generic soldiers as well as Carmine are still alive and kicking. They were merely knocked out by Pan since, come on, she's 3. She's not going to unalive anybody. And while it is possible that they might have perished in the subsequent explosions in the aftermath of Cell Max, we have a feeling that the movie probably would have made it very clear to us, shown us this happening, to fully convey the scale and terror that is being wrought upon the planet from Cell Max. No, we didn't see them succumb. You might think that a bunch of Earthlings are not possibly a threat to our heroes, especially now after Piccolo and Gohan getting their massive boosts, to get them extremely close to Goku and Vegeta now, but humans can be resourceful if they want to be. And also, another thing against the Red Ribbons, Dr. Hedo was the inventor of their powerful androids, and with him now limping off to Capture Corp, they're surely going to be defenseless, right? Well, not quite. Hedo shouldn't take all the credit for their innovation. After all, Hedo was recruited a mere 6 months before the movie started. All that amazing machinery, the impressive base and intel, that was already there. Hedo simply utilized what was already there and managed to create something awe-inspiring in the form of the Gammas, and to a lesser extent Cell Max if he actually been baked properly. And yeah, terrifying. A much better Bio Broly still. And it seems that a lot of these gains for the Red Ribbons came from the likes of Carmine, the perfect right-hand man and facilitator. And honestly, next to Hedo and Gero, one of the most competent, generic humans in the series. He managed to get things done and manage this powerful base that the Dragon team had absolutely no clue existed. Granted, you could say that this was a plot device because, oh, why would they know about it? Because it didn't exist in the idea of Toriyama, but the Dragon team do admit via Piccolo's shock when he sees it for the first time that they were taken aback by this revelation of them still existing, right under their noses, or in Krillin's case, skin. And I bet you can imagine, losing to a superpowered 3-year-old could have left Carmine a little bit resentful. He might make a vlog for his YouTube channel, and maybe other things, because he knows a lot about the Dragon Team, even more now than he did before the movie began. So we wouldn't be at all surprised if we see him teaming up with another big bad perhaps even Frieza, to tie together the Broly movie, superhero, and whatever comes next in a trilogy. But that's not all regarding the Red Ribbon Army. Number 2, is Android 21 coming to the main canon? Ah yes, is the Vommy Mummy coming to Dragonball Super and beyond? Seriously, that wasn't me. That was all you cheeky chappies in the comments. Like, what? I digress. As for a character that had originated in a video game series, Android 21 receives a lot of attention. I can't imagine why. And we finally know that Toriyama is cool with her overall concept. After all, he did design her for fighters. He has no qualms, seemingly, with including her original self in the main timeline. Something that Kakarot had dabbled in briefly in a training sequence with Vegeta. It was just a tiny little blink and you'll miss it. Not only that, but we finally learned her name, like I mentioned earlier. And it's Vommy, which has to be one of the biggest trolls on Toriyama's part in this movie and what it provided. And you don't seem to be taking it in your stride. Name aside, we now know that she and Jiro had 2 kids, Gabo, and most likely a second son who seems to be deceased. There is no record for him based on the current Red Ribbon database. Convenient. Are we going to be having yet another example of 17's wife and kids? Like, they're there, but they don't exist, that we'll never see them. The novelization of the movie that came out alongside the movie also confirms that Vommy passed away long before Jiro did, possibly from natural causes, which, actually when you think about it, could have had a negative effect on the Doctor's headspace. This is quite intriguing. Perhaps her demise led to him becoming the mad scientist that we know, seeking to create androids that were immune to the rigors of disease. This was his means of coping. What if she had survived? Would he have been less malicious? The androids never existing? Cell never existing? Again, it's all conjecture at the moment, but With his grandson Hedo now essentially a part of the Dragon Team, or at least a supportive ally working under Bulma, and probably putting Pilov's nose out of joint, you have to wonder, will we get any more development from Hedo? Or are we just going to see him go into the background, occasionally pop up with some small speaking parts with little meat or substance to them that is just going to be there? Surely the return of his long-deceased grandmother in android form could complicate things, right? Number 3, more Namekian Law. Yes, we saw the start of this back in the manga, during the Moro saga, and then punctuated further with the Granola saga, where Piccolo and the Namekians were being expanded upon quite substantially. Piccolo was slowly starting to get more prominence and relevance to the overall plot. But that's just peanuts to what we've been getting now. Thanks to these new additions, Piccolo's place in the Dragon Team is now surely secure, placing him back on the podium in terms of outright strength. Like I said, multiple instances of recent Dragon Ball media are introducing quite a substantial amount of new Namekian lore to us, which is always welcome. Some of it is very interesting. This one that I'm about to share with you, the most interesting of all, and it doesn't have to come up with anything brand new. It's been right under our noses for decades. For the first time, we have an obvious symbol for the Namekians. The Saiyans have this Poseidon-looking insignia here, the Frieza Force has this, and now we have this, the symbol on Bigger Orange's back. What's that, I hear you say? And I don't blame you for initially being very puzzled, because it's a circle within a circle. It's not exactly clear what it is. But what if I were to tell you it's in the shape of those trees we saw countless times on Namek and then paid no mind to? This is meant to represent something, the Ajisa tree, which is the symbol of Namekian pride. Not only Saiyans are pride, you know. Not only that, but in Kakarot, the Ajisa tree is meant to bear a fruit. What fruit? Oranges. What is the colour of Dragon Balls? Orange. Clearly, we are being shown that orange is a very important colour associated with the Namekian society. It could be a sign of providing, prosperity. But yeah, oranges provide sustenance and Dragon Balls provide that and more. It's a neat little connection. But could that orange colour and form also be connected with the Dragon Balls themselves, bringing it all together? Or, you know, a certain dragon deity mentioned in one sentence in Super by Zuno that we have been obsessing about for years? Yeah, that's basically us for now. Maybe it doesn't matter in the long run, but every new installment after Broly has been doing its damnedest to bring something new to the table for the Slug people. And seeing how powerful Namekians can become now, with Orange Piccolo at the helm, now on the scene, something is afoot. Something's going to happen. And if not, at least there might be a chance that we could see a Namekian villain show up. It doesn't have to be a Universe 7 one. Maybe we could have one from Universe 6 that Salmel and Pilina have to bring Piccolo in for assistance. Or a completely different one to think about. Superhero did wonders with upping Piccolo's relevance to a very respectable level. But yeah, Toriyama, bring Namek to the main canon, please. Number 4. Is the rivalry between Goku and Vegeta over? Now I bet this one's going to be a sore topic for you. Why would it be over? It's one of those things about Dragon Ball that is eternal. Goku and Vegeta butting heads. Well, Superhero's mission statement was not about them, and it was about actually to tear apart the form book of Dragon Ball and try new things. To great effect. So this could easily be yet another example of that. Whilst Vegeta and Goku were not the main stars of this movie, they did have a tiny little subplot of their own. They are training on Beerus' planet, and provided a little bit of entertainment for us, Broly and Lemo, especially in the post-credit scene, where we learn that the prince was finally able to defeat Goku, even if he does end up falling down tired afterward. But still, when you strip away the transformations that have bogged down Dragon Ball for decades, and key techniques, when it's down to close quarter combat, Vegeta won. They both seem happy about this too, and at this point, you might have a feeling of not watching enemies fighting, but two good friends just having a casual sparring match, instead of rivals bickering amongst themselves, like we've seen all too often in modern Dragon Ball and the Buu saga. Have we finally transitioned to the chilled Vegeta we know from the end of Z and the GT timeline? It's not super flashy, yeah, but we cannot deny that both of them seem genuinely happy about this particular development. Hopefully, this will put the tired old shtick of them not working well together to rest, and allow us to follow a different plot thread for these two, freshening up their place within the series. As we have seen with Gohan and Piccolo, it is really possible to successfully develop iconic characters further without too much blowback, whilst acknowledging the issues that they had in show. So, fingers crossed. Number 5. A new Majin Buu equivalent may be coming. Okay, this is probably one of the most intriguing points that we have to share with you. With Superhero, we are beginning to see a pattern forming when it comes to the overall big bad for these movies. It all started in 2015. We had Frieza returning twice, we have now had Cell Max turning up, albeit as some kind of folly for Magenta, and if we are betting men, haven't I, we would bet that there is a new Buu-like villain coming in the future. Not a direct copy of Buu, or even a copy of Janemba, but something that is an homage to Buu. The movies are following the old Z trope, but in different guises. Obviously, it's not the most original choice, as Janemba kinda did that years ago with at least some variation, and the record for these movies have been kinda sketchy when you put them all together. Frieza's first return was extremely mediocre. It's really not aged well. But Cell Max, on the other hand, that hit different. It was not trying to ape Mr. Perfect Cell exactly. So if we get a twist to this new Buu, that could be very fascinating. We could, for example, meet the Majin incarnate in one of the other universes. Universe 6, perhaps? After all, we've been clamoring to go there, and their Earth has been restored, and if there are a lot of parallels in these realms, Universe 6 and 7, might there be a sealed ball there as well, that they haven't discovered yet? Have Buu and Oob got to fight against their twin selves? At this point, might we see another thing coming in from nostalgic tendencies from GT, where we could see a more complete version of the two, the return or reimagining of Majoob? And this time he would actually be allowed to do something? Perhaps. Or maybe this entity's from Universe 4, one of the more vengeful realms towards Universe 7, where the twist would be that this version is actually super smart, sort of like Buhan. Or, something else entirely. We still have 6 erased universes out there. One of them could contain a being so chaotic that it would put Kid Buu to shame. Whatever it may be, we feel that a new Buu seems to be a strong possibility. As long as they make him different enough from the original Majin Buu, it's not as bad as it might seem at first glance. So there you have it, our new possible plot threads for Dragon Ball Super after Superhero, after learning the plot of that movie. Share your ideas with us, and did you enjoy Superhero itself? What would you like to see next in Dragon Ball? Leave a comment below, and let's get this discussion going. And I will see you in the next video. Catch you later!